Hi everyone and welcome to our Google Classroom PD session. We're going to cover a lot of different topics depending on where you're at with your experience in Google Classroom and different things you might want to incorporate this year with virtual learning. So I'm going to start at the very basic. For anybody that does not know how to even begin setting up your Google Classroom, that's where we're going to start. And then we'll talk about some more advanced things and things that you can incorporate later once you are comfortable with setting up your Google Classroom and understanding the different functions. So here you can see I have my classroom, but if you don't even know how to get that started, what you would want to do is go to the waffle icon through your Gmail. And when you click that, one of the first icons you should see is the classroom one. It's like a little chalkboard. And you would click on Google Classroom, and here you would see any classrooms that you've either created before or ones that you've been invited to join or participate in. And once you're here, since you're creating a class, you would use the plus sign and go to create class since you're going to be managing it. And here you would put in your information. You can see that a class name is required. So you would want to put something like Mrs. Sullivan's second grade 2020, 2021, whatever you typically call your class works well. And then you can put this other information if you wish, but you don't have to do it. And then once you do fill in the different cells, you would click create and your classroom then would pop up on your main Google Classroom page here. So I'm going to go into the one that I created for this PD where we're going to kind of do some of the work, and I'm just going to show you different things you can set up. So the first thing we have here is our stream, and on the stream you'll see your main class banner, the information that you put in when you created the classroom will appear over here. And then here is a class code and a Meet link. If you're going to do a Google Meet, you can generate it right from your class banner. And the class code is typically something that people will need in order to join your class. You can select a theme, so how you want your banner to work. There's a bunch that Google already has in here that you can choose from. Or you could upload your own type of photo that you might have saved to your computer. Just know that since the banner is long, you're going to want to pick a photo that isn't going to have that stretched out look because it's not a typical size photo. Later in the session as well, I'll show you how you can create your own banner using Google Slides if you want to incorporate your Bitmoji or different kinds of graphics and clip art you like. But we'll do that later. Then the other part of this home page, the stream, is that you can make announcements that your class would see right away and that they would also get alerted on in their email provided they keep all the Google Classroom settings turned on. So let's say you want to do reminder, field trip money is due. Not that we're going on a field trip anytime soon, but you can put those kind of announcements right onto this page. It kind of reminds me of like a Facebook news feed, for instance, because then when you have an announcement, people can comment on it, and you could have a conversation going back and forth if students have questions about whatever you posted. One thing I will warn is that I know with my second graders in the spring, they started responding to announcements saying hi to one another. And it didn't really bother me. They were really just saying hello and asking each other how they were doing. So it was kind of a nice way for them to communicate with one another. But just as kind of, a word of caution in case that would turn into something that could be problematic. So, if you want to develop any kind of rules behind that, that's your choice. Most of the work that you do on Google Classroom will be under this classwork tab. So when I go in here, the thing that I'll use the most is this create button. And you can create a bunch of different things, such as assignments, quizzes. You can do a question where they can then respond and submit their answer right to it. Material. I don't really have many reasons right now to reuse posts. And topic. Topic is the one I liked the best. I found it to be the most helpful in trying to organize the classwork part of the classroom. So when I add a topic, you call it whatever works for you. Maybe you want everything in a subject area, like reading. Maybe you want a topic for each day. What I did in the spring is that I organized it by week. That's just what worked for me at that time. So you can see here I did week of September 1st. There's my topic. And then under my week is where I put all of my daily learning assignments. So you would go back to create and you would go to assignment. So let's say we have Tuesday's learning and I put the date. That's going to be my title. Then I can do instructions if I want, a little message as they open up their assignment. So maybe I'll say, Happy Tuesday. We're going to have a great day of learning together. Please make sure you complete all of the activities and turn in your math assignment. Then what I would do is I would add anything that I am going to want them to be working on. So I could go into my Google Drive, for instance, and find whatever it is I want them to review. So I'm going to go to a slideshow I did last year. That looks like it's somebody's work. But if I go into my drive, then I can look at different folders that I had. So I'm going to go to my one from last year, and I'm just going to pick one that I used last year. So I'm going to insert it, and we would say, okay, that's the slideshow that's going to go with my assignments for Tuesday. And then what you can do is you can determine how you want it available to your students. So if it's something that you only want them to view, you can go to view. If you want them all to be able to work on it and move things around on the slides, you can go to edit. But if you're going to have slides in your presentation where you want each student doing something, let's say it's a matching slide or a sorting activity, then you're going to want to actually make a copy for each student so that they're only moving around the slides on the copy that's available to them. I typically had last year only kept it to view only, but this year I'm considering doing something like that. So some of the activities I do could be a little bit more interactive, and I can look at how each student did, the interactive work that I had on the slides. Then over here, you put who it's available for. So this is right now, it's available to anybody who's in Mrs. Sullivan's PD. So you would just click on the Google Classroom that you are actually using. If you teach multiple classes, you might want to select a couple different classrooms. And then over here, the students that you want it available to. So once you have your students assigned to your Google Classroom, you could actually select who you want it for. So let's say you have learning support students in your classroom and you are not having them do the assignments everybody else is doing. You might uncheck them and you might assign them to a different slideshow, depending on, again, the group of students you have, how you're managing it, and whatnot, so that it only shows up on those students' classrooms for their assignments. And then your points, so either ungraded, or if you're assigning it a number of points. A due date if it's something that's due. So if you want to actually have students show that they, completed looking at the slideshow, maybe you would assign a due date and time. Again, that's your choice. And then here's where you want to assign it to a topic. So I want it to go under my week of September 1. So I would put it right there. And then there is a rubric option. I wouldn't use that right now. That could be something that you play around with later. Okay, so I have that there. If for some reason I wanted to add something else, I could do that as well. Okay, maybe I have a file. So let's say I want them to complete a workbook page from ConnectEd, from maybe my everyday math. I could actually, save that PDF to my computer, and I could go in then and find it and put it here so that it's a material. I know this isn't a math page, but I can click this here and I could insert it. And again, I would do the same stuff where I'm deciding whether they can view, edit, make a copy for each student. Something you could do is create. So let's say I want every student to do their assignment in a Google Doc. I could set up the Google Doc here. I could say today's writing prompt, and I could put the prompt here. What is your favorite color? Tell me why. Give 3 reasons. I could, put any other directions I want there. I could insert a chart. I could, insert lines, whatever it is that you want to do. And once I have that, then it would appear in my classroom, and I would make a copy for each student so that they would all be working on it. If it's something that you want everyone to collaborate on and write the same document, then you would do students can edit the file. So this is somewhere where you're really going to want to play around and find how it works for you, things that you want to add, things that you want to have them do. I know last year, our second grade team, we explored drawings when we were in a unit where they could do things with shapes. You could do, a form if you want to take a quick assessment or a check-in. Slides was great because we had a project where they were all able to work on a class slideshow together. So this is really an area that you're going to want to play around with, figure out how it works best for you, and absolutely let me know if you have any questions. I know there's a lot in this section, but this is exactly where you're going to be doing most of your work for Google Classroom. Once you have whatever it is you wanted for that assignment, you press assign, and it's going to assign it right to that topic, so week of September 1st. Now, if for some reason you didn't assign it to that topic, it's okay. Everything can be dragged around in Google Classroom, so I could just drag it down in here, and then even when I have a bunch of things in my topic, I can change the order if I like. Okay. If you want to do something else, let's say you want to put, a material in there that you are not necessarily maybe putting in your daily slideshow presentation, but you want them to have it for the week, you could do it as a material. And it looks very much like the screen that was assignments. It's just something that you are only having them look at and maybe not actually assigning them to do. Maybe, this is where you put your newsletter for parents. You could do that.